January 15, 1919. A typical winter day in Boston's North End. Workers went about their business, children played in the streets, and ships unloaded cargo at the harbor. But just after noon, a strange sound echoed through the neighborhood. A deep, metallic groan, followed by an unthinkable disaster.
This was the Great Molasses Flood, a tragedy so bizarre, so destructive, that it would become one of the strangest disasters in American history.
Welcome back to The Curious Past. I'm Shan.
And I'm Danny. Today we're delving into a sticky mess from the 20th century which turned a seemingly ordinary day into a nightmare for a Boston neighborhood. We're talking about the Great Molasses Flood.
To understand this disaster, we have to take a journey back into the past. Let's jump in.
Our story begins in Boston's bustling North End, a truly vibrant working-class neighborhood. By 1919, this was predominantly an Italian immigrant enclave, often called Boston's Little Italy. Its narrow, winding streets were crammed with red brick tenements and row houses, creating one of the most densely populated areas in the world.
Life here was close-knit, with a strong community spirit fueled by small businesses, churches, and social organizations. The air would have been a mix of harbor smells, perhaps coal smoke, and certainly the rich aroma of Italian cooking.
Right on the edge of this bustling community was Commercial Street, a key artery of the North End's industrial waterfront. This was a busy thoroughfare, lined with warehouses, shipping docks, and various commercial enterprises.
You'd hear the clatter of horse-drawn carts, early automobiles, and the rumble of the elevated train tracks overhead, which made it a vital transportation hub. It was here, amidst this ceaseless activity, that the Purity Distilling Company had its massive operation.
Purity Distilling, a branch of the U.S. Industrial Alcohol Company, wasn't just any company. They were in the business of making industrial alcohol, which was then used in the production of ammunition, particularly explosives like dynamite and smokeless powder, during World War I.
So they built a truly enormous tank, 50 feet tall, 90 feet in diameter, capable of holding a staggering 2.3 million gallons of the sticky sweet stuff. It was a landmark, a dark cylindrical behemoth dominating the skyline of Commercial Street. But even as it stood, it was, unbeknownst to many, a ticking time bomb.
You see, this wasn't just a regular tank. From the day it was completed in 1915, it was, to put it mildly, poorly constructed. Built in a hurry with thin steel and reportedly little to no oversight, residents living nearby had complained for months about strange noises, groaning, creaking, and a constant rumbling coming from the tank.
They even noticed leaks. Small trickles of molasses would ooze from the seams, collecting in sticky puddles on the street. Children, oblivious to the danger, would often collect this leaked molasses, a sweet treat from an unlikely source.
The sounds of creaks and metallic groans were so common that nearby residents nicknamed it the Steel Volcano.
The company, however, dismissed these concerns. In a particularly absurd PR move, they painted the tank brown to hide the leaks and claimed the noises were simply the working of the new structure. A fatal error in judgment, as we would soon discover.
The tank was filled to near capacity with a fresh shipment of molasses, recently warmed by a slight temperature increase, making it less viscous and more mobile.
You see, it was an unseasonably warm day for Boston during the winter. The temperature rose rapidly from a frigid morning into the 40s Fahrenheit. Inside the tank, a deadly cocktail was brewing.
The temperature difference caused fermentation, producing carbon dioxide, and when you trap expanding gas inside a poorly constructed steel barrel, what do you get?
The clock ticked towards 12:40 p.m. on January 15, 1919. Lunchtime. People were going about their daily routines. Children were playing. Suddenly, a thunderous roar ripped through the air.
Witnesses described a sound like machine gun fire, the rivets popping out, followed by a deep, thunderous boom. And then, without warning, the unthinkable happened. The massive molasses tank exploded. Not leaked, not cracked, exploded.
A colossal wave of molasses, estimated to be between 15 and 25 feet high, surged outwards, a sticky, dark tsunami engulfing everything in its path. At an incredible speed of 35 miles per hour, this viscous tide ripped through Commercial Street and into the densely packed North End.
That might sound slow, but not when it weighs 12,000 tons. Buildings were ripped from their foundations, wooden structures splintered like matchsticks, iron girders buckled. A truck was thrown into Boston Harbor.
A fire station was swept away, its brave firefighters caught completely off guard. Houses were lifted, spun around, and deposited elsewhere, often in ruins. A train passing on an elevated track was knocked off its tracks, its cars twisted and mangled.
The scene was one of unimaginable chaos. The sticky, suffocating molasses entrapped people, horses, and even the debris of the destroyed neighborhood. It was a substance unlike water. It was dense, heavy, and incredibly difficult to move through.
People struggled to breathe, their lungs filling with the sweet, sickening fumes. Many were crushed by the initial impact or drowned in the thick goo.
Rescue efforts were immediate but incredibly difficult. First responders, firefighters, and police officers waded into the viscous mess, their movements hampered by the molasses.
They pulled out survivors, some barely clinging to life, others tragically deceased. The sheer stickiness made it impossible to see or move easily. Horses, vital for transportation and work, were particularly vulnerable, many perishing in the flood.
The molasses thickened as it cooled, turning rescue into a horror show. One firefighter described it as wading through wet cement while people screamed.
The human cost was devastating. 21 people lost their lives that day, ranging from young children to elderly adults. Over 150 more were injured, some severely. The sheer force of the molasses had caused broken bones, internal injuries, and a multitude of other traumas. The North End, once a vibrant community, was now a scene of utter devastation, covered in a thick, brown, malodorous blanket.
And then came the monumental task of cleaning up. It wasn't just a matter of hosing down the streets. The molasses had seeped into every crack and crevice, covering homes, businesses, and the very ground itself.
For weeks, firefighters used salt water from the harbor, then fresh water to try and wash it away, but the molasses clung stubbornly. Sand was brought in to absorb the goo, and even then the sticky residue remained for months.
The Boston Harbor stayed brown until summer, and the entire North End smelled of molasses for a very long time, a lingering reminder of the disaster.
And while residents mourned and rebuilt, the lawsuits began. A class action suit was filed, a rarity at the time. The U.S. Industrial Alcohol Company blamed anarchists, claiming a bomb had exploded the tank. But after a 5-year trial and over 1,000 witnesses, the company was found liable. They paid out nearly $1 million in damages.
So what actually caused the tank to fail? Modern analysis shows that the steel used in the tank was too brittle. It lacked enough manganese, making it prone to cracking, especially in the cold. Worse, the tank hadn't been properly tested. No engineers were consulted. The thing was filled and used before anyone checked if it would survive being full.
The tragedy led to significant changes in building codes and engineering practices, particularly concerning large storage tanks. Cities across the country began to require stricter building inspections and permits. And we were reminded in the worst possible way that industrial shortcuts can be fatal.
The Great Molasses Flood of 1919 stands as a testament to the unforeseen consequences of negligence. and the devastating power of even the most innocuous of substances.
It's a reminder that even in the pursuit of industry and progress, safety and due diligence must always come first. A truly unique and unforgettable chapter in Boston's rich and sometimes sticky history.
And if you're wondering, yes, to this day, some Bostonians will tell you that on hot summer days you can still smell molasses in the North End. Whether that's nostalgia or trauma, well, that's for them to decide.
Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you found this story fascinating, please hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more curious tales from history.
And let us know in the comments, what's the weirdest disaster you've ever heard of? We might just feature it.
Until next time, stay curious.